This is The Point, news from noise, daily market call presented by Kattan Ferretti Financial. I'm your CEO, Brad Roth, and I look forward to having a daily discussion with you over the topics that we present in this note every single morning. So without further ado, The Point. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Point. It is Friday, July 14th. It's a very special holiday. It's Bastille Day, which means it's also my father's and Cameron's father's birthday. So happy birthday to the OG, Bob Roth. But other than that, Cameron, what is going on in the news world?
Well, the main focus is it is Bob's birthday today. But other than that, U.S. futures are unchanged in the early morning after seeing a small batch of gains yesterday, while the dollar fell for a fifth consecutive day, its longest streak in 2 months. Crude oil saw a near 70 basis point gain to $46.40 per barrel, bringing its weekly charge to almost 5%. Inflation has been sluggish behind the central bank's 2% target as Yellen hinted towards a gradual tightening policy and that sluggish price rises have underlying structural causes. There are a few key points for investors to focus on today, beginning with consumer price data, which will be released at 8:30 this morning. As the U.S. economy nears full employment, investors will weigh whether the Fed has the resolve to keep tightening the economy. Also reported this morning will be retail sales and industrial production coming at 8:30 and 9:15 respectively. Other big news to look for includes the earnings reports of several major banks. J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and PNC will look to prove themselves as the financial sector has performed the best in the S&P since the election. And President Trump vowed action on foreign countries such as China that are dumping steel onto the U.S. market, and also added he's considering imposing new tariffs or quotas on imports. The Stoxx Europe 600 index was little changed this morning after a 1.6% gain for the week, as the pound and euro saw similar gains around 2.2%. The UK acknowledged for the first time on paper its obligation to pay the European Union as it exits. The settlement comes in around 100 billion euros, as the EU said sufficient progress must be made in that aspect, along with citizens' rights and the border of Ireland. Bloomberg New Energy Finance, which is a London-based researcher, expects electric vehicles to reduce oil demand by 8 million barrels by 2040, which is more than the current combined production of Iran and Iraq. Italy's absolute poor, which are those unable to purchase a basic basket of goods or services, has reached 4.7 million people. This figure is up 3 million from 2006 and is nearly 8% of the entire population, with a large concentration in the south due to a record-long recession. We don't see much going on in Asia, as their markets are having a steady gain, led by a 0.39% increase in Japan's Topix index, while Australia's S&P ASX 200 is up 0.5%. India is considering a proposal to lift a cap on investment by foreign retailers in local supermarkets. Retailers such as Walmart would be allowed a 100% investment if they agree to sell locally made products and invest at least $100 million. So, Brad, obviously the big focus today will be on the CPI and the earnings reports of these big banks.
Yeah, I think after the Fed and all of its speakers had its ability to talk this week and last week, the CPI print is really just a validation of whether Janet Yellen's recent dovishness, can't talk this morning, is warranted. I think, the overnight session was painfully low, but pushed stocks a little bit higher, hitting another record high, capping basically the best week they've had in over 2 months. But really, it's just we're looking at the CPI print because it's really important to give us an indication as to whether or not we think the Fed's going to hike rates again in 2017 and 2018. After she came out and talked, the odds of those rate hikes dropped. We were expecting 4 hikes this year. Doesn't seem like we're going to get that, which is why you saw markets kind of rip. But yeah, we've got a lot of banks' earnings calls coming up, earnings calls coming up today. No secret they have outperformed higher rates, and a president that wants to kind of deregulate and roll back some Dodd-Frank regulation is only bullish for the banking sector. So I would expect good things out of those reports. So other than that, Cameron, what do you have on on the sports front, I think it was pretty quiet. Or anything you're reading, watching, or listening to?
I think today is like I think it might have been yesterday. It was like one of those days where there's not a single professional sport being played. So obviously nothing. Pirates return today, though. Kind of a big opening homestand against the Cardinals and Brewers to find out if they'll be buyers or sellers at the deadline, because they're struggling, but they're still in the hunt. So hopefully they can hold it together. I don't want to see McCutchen go. So
yeah, I don't either. That would hurt, and then they'll have to sell us a whole another 10 years of rebuilding. So who knows with the Pirates. But hey, this caps off another week of The Point. Again, happy birthday, Bob Roth, and we will see you all next week.